So, didn't get out Monday, a bit fluey, plus the weather was not that crash hot. Would have gone out anyway if it was a bit sunny. But being a bit under the weather and the weather not so good, decided not to go out. Then wished I had. Go figure. Anyway, so since we haven't gotten out so far and it is Tuesday, I guess I'll show you a tap washer. Still definitely going to get out Friday. I should feel way better by then. Plus the weather's meant to be back to okay, and swell's supposed to be picking up a little bit, so hopefully we might get the 6.2 out. We'll see how we go. Otherwise we'll just get the foamy and have a muck around, but looking forward to bigger swell. Anyway, in the meantime, here's a tap washer. Stay cool. So at the main, got that is cold, if you can see it, and hot. So to do the hot you have to turn hot and cold. To do the cold, just the cold. So we're gonna start with the cold. Hopefully if the drip stops, then we know it's the top cold washer. But if the drip still remains, then we've got to do the hot as well. So we'll turn them off and see how we go. So we just turn the cold, or just shut off the cold, and I'll flip it around. You can see that the tap has stopped dripping. So hopefully it's just the cold washer, and we will reseat the tap, or the washer, and replace the washers and O-rings, and I'll show you all that. I should have showed you the drip beforehand, but you can see there where it was, and it's pretty much stopped. That's just the last of it. So hopefully, as I said, it's just the cold, and we don't have to do both, but we'll see how we go. So we have these shut-off valves, or check valves if you will. I'm going to put these new lines in as well, because the old ones are there. As you can see, they need changing. And then if we put these inside and we get a tap drip or something, we don't have to go back out and shut it off at the main. We can just shut it off here and do it real quick. Saves a little bit of time and stops the room from flooding. If you get a burst, you can get to it quicker, all the rest of it. So we'll do all that as well. Helps if you get the right size the first time. What I didn't show you is I turned the cold tap on in the bathtub in between, and that way it relieves a little bit of pressure in the line. So when you pull this off, there's not as much water there to flow out. As you can see, that's been there for a while. Whoever did that obviously did quite well, because that wasn't too tight. A lot of them are far too tight. That washer's not that old. But you can see the nylon washers. I don't know if you can get that, I'll try to. You can see the nylon washers, they're good in that they kind of last longer normally, but they don't compress. If you do the tap up too tight a little bit, they'll compress and then not come back out, as opposed to the rubber stuff compresses, but rubber doesn't last as long as nylon. So it's a catch-22 what you choose to use, I suppose. I can't feel any burrs in that. I'll just have a look with a torch. Normally I'd reset that, but given that I can't feel any burrs, I think we may leave it. It's not necessary, you know. There is a little one there. There's a little burr in that, so I'll go get it since I forgot to bring it with me. Typical. Had 1,000 things going on, but so we'll go get the drill. I'll shut you off, and we'll come back and reseat. So hopefully that records good. We'll just quickly take that burr out, and that way we know that next wash is going to sit flush, so we shouldn't have any dramas. Doesn't normally take much, and it was only a little burr, so that's got it. I generally try and get some of those shavings out, but what we do is we take the aerator at the end of the tap and catch the shavings in the sink, since you can't normally get them out anyway. Which that's not tight either, that's good. See how dirty that is. So we'll clean all that up, place that O-ring there, put some tap grease on it if we can. Try and do it so you can see it, but we'll see how we go. Clean that up a little bit. You see the difference? Huh. And this O-ring's in pretty good shape because this has been done not that long ago, but which it may well be the hot that was dripping after all, because sometimes that hot will not have as much pressure once you turn the cold off, and that it'll stop leaking as well, so sometimes that can happen. Hopefully not. It's a bit quicker then, but just put some grease on that so it doesn't dry out. Hopefully you can hear me too, because you see how dirty that is. Let's see if we can't clean this up a little bit and place. Replace the washer that was there, that's kind of half still there, as you can see, because they're like Oh God, I'm not sure what material they are now, but they're like carbon material, I think. So they stick on after time. Try and get rid of most of it. Ideally all of it, but there we go. That way we know the next wash we replace it with will sit properly. It goes on the end. That obviously goes back through. I'll try to do it all the way. New washer, hopefully you can see the difference. There's no, you can see it's not compressed at all. So, nylon ones do that though. If the tap's done up just that little bit too tight, I've noticed. And by no means am I a plumber. I've just done this a few times. Just do it up just firm, not too high. Give that a bit of a clean around there because hopefully it doesn't have to come off anytime soon. Again, this just needs to be hand tight. Some people do it way too tight and it's so hard to get back off. If it's done up tight and not taken off in a while, sometimes they seize on there. You literally can't get it off. That one's nice. All the way down, just hand tight. How good. And then tap handle back on. Again, just firm. I like to wind it all the way in. Just firm. Again, not over tight, and otherwise you can press that nylon washer. Open, close. Now we'll turn the main valve back on, make sure we don't have a leak. Make sure it was just that washer. And then we'll replace those hard lines once we check that washer. And you can see no more leaks. Ha, how good. So we'll leave that as is. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So we'll check our device, make sure there's no other important jobs come up, which if there's not, we will then replace those flexi lines. Sorry, I said hard lines before, but they're flexi, so we'll put in those valves, but we'll check this device first. Can't really film the process, unfortunately, but you can see. Undo that one, then I'll put the check valve on there, and then the hose will come through there, but did just get a call, the lights aren't working in our room, so of course start a project now, because this one I can't, it's a bit of a process anyway, it's not a quick one, so of course a job comes up, I have to go to, let's go fix their lights. So the light issue was a dimmer, which is pretty common. I I don't know if you've ever had to deal with a dimmer in a car, or at least your older cars, that kind of thing. Dimmers always fail. They always blow a fuse, or you're always having dramas with a dimmer. So, not uncommon, but I can't touch it. Need to be a licensed Sparky to touch that, in this setting anyway. So I've handed that over to our Mint Sparky. Dude knows his stuff. And we'll get back to this job here. I thread tape whatever I can, because in this setting you want it to last, and it gets used a lot commercially. So I'll thread tape, I'll put it all on, and you'll see these lines have arrows for water flow. So basically like a check valve inside, and we use them because they're heavier duty. They cost a fair bit more too. Pretty much same old rule. So we've put the isolator on, and then we'll put this new line on. One down. Hot done anyway. And then we'll put our little red cap on to set that top. All good to go. And what you want to do is get your closest taps, make sure they're both on, not overly on, but yeah. Then turn these off. We'll make sure they're off still, and make sure your isolation valves are off, because what might happen if you don't, the instant rush of water and air, because there'll be a bit of air in that line now, will close the check valve. And then you'll have to turn it all back off and on, and do a bit of a process to open that check valve to get the water to flow. So if you do it this way, and air will come out of there first, and then we'll slowly turn on the isolators here to slowly let the water in, then turn these on, slowly let them out. That way any air in the line doesn't shut that check valve off. We'll see how we go. We're good. Turn those on, back them off a little bit. Slowly turn the isolators on. And then the taps, and we're good. Make sure there's no leaks once we come off. Just firm, everything just firm. All your nuts, everything just firm, not overly tight. No leaks. So, as you can see, that's your tap, a bit bright. No leaks. And so this washer's good to go. Lines are good. Isolation valves are in. So if there is another leak, it's a lot easier to do. And hopefully after this, well, not today, but hopefully by Friday, actually we always get out Friday anyway, but we might get some more content. Otherwise, definitely get surfing in on Friday, and hopefully it's a mint sunrise again. We'll get all that for you. Stay cool. Hey team, Friday. So, didn't get out until now. Had too much on, didn't film much either. But as always, Friday we're gonna check Kira 0 to 1. So, which is probably the best it's been for a little while. And did also acquire a spring suit, thankfully, for the upcoming months. But even today, because there's a bit of a wind, 14 to 20 knots, I think. So it's a little bit of a breeze, but it's going to be ice cold in July. So going to put the spring suit on under my normal wetty, and hopefully we'll stay a bit warmer. I'll show you the spring suit. That is the mint spring suit. And my mint wetty with the seam now intact. Thank you so much to our awesome seamstress. Otherwise I'd be ice cold, because my other wetty is just nowhere near warm enough for this kind of conditions. But anyway, we'll get these spring suit half on, wetty half on. We get down to Kirra. Should be a mint morning. Stay cool. Chuck my spring suit and wetty on straight away, because that way it's nice and warm by the time we get there and your body doesn't have to adjust so much. At least it's probably up here, but if it works, it works. That's the shit. Yes. Jumper. Let's get to Kirra. Let's have some fun. Just got to Kirra. It's actually pretty good, guys. There isn't much of a breeze yet, so hopefully it stays this way. It won't be too cold at all. Cool, but not cold. Nah. Alright, we'll get all that boards out. Get ready. It's actually way nicer than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be ice cold breeze, but it's not too bad. get this board off. Let's have some fun. Hey team, so ended up at Burleigh Saturday morning. I got the guys addicted. How good. I'll flip it around, it's a pretty good sunrise too. Not much out there. Still just hanging on with the foamy because it's so small, but that's alright. Still fun. Like we always say, never a bad day. And yeah, get out there and see what happens.
Ooh.